Okay, so we have a message saying that we are live now. Congratulations again, without any fuck ups, we went live. And I welcome here, first of all the people from the community who join us on Tuesday. And today we have an AMA session for the project that is incubated by Scaleswap. They are not yet decided for the IDO, but as we all know, on one of the last community talks, our community asked us to introduce to you the projects before the community voting, so that you can learn more about the team, about the big potential and big vision and everything else. So please meet the team of Semper Cosi, 4 co-founders. Here we have Sunny. Hi, Sunny.
Hello.
Steven.
Hello.
Philip.
Hi.
Hi, Philip. And Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Kyle.
Great to be
Guys,
here.
thanks a lot for all of you joining us today. And of course, please greet our amazing co-founders at Scaleswap, CEO and co-founder Ralph Gertes. Hi, Ralph.
Hi, guys.
And CTO and co-founder Stan Stolberg on a beautiful corporate background. Hi, Stan.
Yeah, hello, everyone.
So guys, before we move into Q&A, and I see that in our live chat, we already have quite a number of questions. Can you please, one of you or all together, introduce briefly the vision of Semper Cosi? What is Semper Cosi for those people who have no clue about your company?
I'll take this one here.
Yeah.
You want to take
go
it?
for it, man.
No,
You go. No,
Hi, my name is Steven. I'm the project manager on this project. Very nice to be here talking to you guys here. So the whole idea with Wolves of Rome is we love card games. We want to make a great card game. We come from a background, all of us, from playing Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, the great analog card games. And the vision is that we want to make the best digital card game out there. But with your NFT utility added on in a way that makes sense. Yeah, that's so basically we want to make the best game out there. And Semper Cosi itself is also the big thinker behind that, wanting to not just make Wolves of Rome, but wanting to publish other great games in the cryptosphere in the future. So that's very short said, boiled down. We want to make good games. That's our priority number one. And our first goal is to make fun, playable games.
Specifically card games, right?
That's our first game. That's a card game because that's where all of us, we have our past in. We have huge love for playing Magic the Gathering. So we thought, why not make this beautiful marriage between NFTs and card games, because it actually makes sense here. And then yeah, that just made sense to be our first project because we have a lot of experience with it. We all are. It's dear to our heart, and we've played it since we were young and kids. So.
And here you should probably say that all of you met together on one table playing card games 10 years ago, right?
Yes.
I wish that was the case. But we are spread all around the globe.
Correct.
So at best, we've probably played either our own prototype against each other, because we have a prototype of our own game. The first game obviously being Wolves of Rome. Probably important at this point to explain the difference. Semper Cosi being the company, the publisher, and Wolves of Rome being the actual game. So right now we're talking about our first game, Wolves of Rome. We've played that game together, but myself and Steven and a few others have also played other games, even physical games where we've set up the camera so we can see. And so yeah, we've got a love for that style of game, but definitely not limiting ourselves to card games in the future. I think just right now, it was the perfect use case for an NFT-based game. It ticked all the right boxes for the kind of gameplay and everything that switches on a card game player, collecting, valuing, trading, all of those things. NFTs it's a great marriage.
Since you already touched the point about Wolves of Rome game, the first game in your ecosystem, Martin in the live chat is asking, what is Wolves of Rome all about? Maybe you introduce it briefly.
Yeah. I can do that for you. I think anyone can. We have some amazing creative energy on our team, mainly sourced around one of our team members, Matti, who we affectionately call Akira, and he created this world, this universe which is not too dissimilar from our own historic, where there were the same countries that we know about, Rome, ancient Egypt, all of these. Only in this universe, Rome is occupied by werewolves, and the various countries around it have other entities like liches, barbarians, all of that. So it is a fantasy strategic card game. And in Wolves of Rome, you would pick your empire and you would build a deck out of the NFTs that you've collected to strategically battle other decks and other opponents. So this is a lore-rich world. There's a lot of story. Look out for the Netflix series coming out, because I can imagine with this kind of story, you can imagine that eventually the IP will be entertaining enough to be a series. But at the moment, starting with a beautiful, creative, art-rich, lore-rich card game called Wolves of Rome. So hopefully I've done it justice. If there's any questions around the story or the gameplay, I'll jump into those. But that's a high-level look at this universe.
And by the way, sorry.
No, I just wanted to remind to our viewers that, by the way, Semper Cosi decided to appreciate your questions, and choose the best question. The author will receive some free card decks and maybe also a few free tokens. So as usually, please do your best to ask really insightful and very well thought, deep questions. And the Semper Cosi team will choose the best of it right after the session. Sorry, Stan, please go on.
Okay, no, I just want to ask, do we have a time frame for this competition? Because normally we not only have live viewers, but also viewers who watch videos at the evening and so on. Maybe we should give our viewers, watchers 1 day for this, for the best question.
Okay, let's do it. Great. So guys, even after the session, if you're watching the recorded version, you can ask the questions in the comments by, let's say, midnight today. Yeah, midnight UTC. And then Semper Cosi team definitely will check the YouTube channel and all the questions under the video. And we will announce the winners tomorrow. Great idea, Stan.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody can have time, right, at 3 p.m. CET to watch this beautiful AMA session. Anyways, Kyle, thanks very much for the explanation of the Wolves of Rome. But as far as I understood, Semper Cosi is much more than Wolf of Rome. Can you please emphasize on this? Explain about the ecosystem, what you are aiming to do with publishing and so on, because for now it seems like it is a game, but it's more than a game.
Yeah, so obviously we always put the first most tangible thing up front, but behind the scenes there's quite a lot going on in that ecosystem. And actually the best person to tell you all about that and Semper Cosi and all the projects and the plans is Philip, who's on the call as well. So Philip, jump in here and do a better job than I can.
I will do. Just hopefully this microphone is working properly now. Can you guys hear me properly?
Can.
Quite well.
So, okay, so we partnered up with like Europe's biggest independent game development studio, and our mission was to bring a few games online, to always have a product owner, to a full team, and bring them online. We wanted to start with a team, our team, and with a game that's dear to us, so that we go all the way, experience all the thresholds, all the problems that arise, and after that is through, that we can on-chain different other games, which are on the horizon, which are not done by our team, which are done by other teams. So this is the vision behind Semper Cosi, to on-chain a few games, probably create a launchpad with another partner of ours who brings also more technical expertise and also working with Scaleswap very closely. So finding the right partners to create an entire ecosystem for games, because I can tell from my personal perspective, I kind of wasted a lot of money on play-to-earn games that never happened. And so we wanted to make it happen. And that was like one of the driving forces how we met last spring. Yeah. And I can even go much more into detail, but I guess I'll fill up the hour that we have. You know, I think one thing that we could do is provide a pitch deck of everything that's planned and everything that's already been happening and make it accessible to your community. That would be my proposal.
Okay. Okay. And speaking about card games in general, do you plan to make Wolves of Rome, looking beautiful, maybe some 3D effects, or what is it? So how we can imagine this game, from the visual side?
Yeah, so this is where I'm most focused, and obviously a lot of the game aesthetic is super important. We actually are currently putting together a gameplay trailer to show what the actual game will look like. But yeah, everything from the feeling of weight when you play your card and how it cracks the ground below on the playboard, to the shooting of a flaming fireball from one card to another. Also, every single card will be completely animated. So not only do we have these AAA artists, these artists that have worked on other big games like Gwent and Magic the Gathering, putting together the artwork, but we're also animating every single artwork. And if you've taken a look at some of the art, it's high fidelity art. It feels painted. It feels kind of like that classic trading card game art that draws you in. Only taking it a step further, we are on digital, so animating every piece, bringing it to life so that you don't feel like you're playing in a static environment, and just animating almost every part of this game. I think because that's the one thing, you play card games. If you're playing a DCG, there are benefits to being a digital card game, and we must lean into those and make full use of what's available. Philip can also talk a little bit about the development of this game, because obviously we're currently with an alpha prototype, so that is more for testing game balance and getting a proof of concept and having our community have fun, because we've got a small growing community that we're just kind of showing the first inklings of the game. But down the line, from a development standpoint, there's a lot of big things planned here, and we've got some big partners. So Philip, a little bit more about that maybe.
But the thing is, we will join up with another team who has built a couple of real life, not crypto card games. They will help us on this side. Our focus was, because it's a card game, to first, and this is coming back to your questions then, to have like really quality artwork, to work with the artists who worked on Magic the Gathering, who worked on Legends of Runeterra, on the card games that our team plays. So this is what we're aiming for. And once the quality is out of the way, the balancing is halfway done, so that we won't break the game at any point. This is where we pass it on to the pros from the gaming industry. They are looking for an entry point as well. And they don't want to team up with many people. We're good friends with them and they trust us. And we have a team partnership in place. So this is where they come on board and develop the thing. And our thing is the community growing, the world building, and the balancing of the game, and the entire structure of the game itself. So we wanted to start with an MVP and not with a website like most games start, so that you can actually play it and be comfortable with it and see that it's actually happening.
And Philip, this MVP is already playable, or you have it's closed beta?
It is invite only, because we have a certain strategy. And I don't know, I guess nobody here really played card games, but the thing is, each one teach one. That means you have our team teaching the other guys how to play the game. It's, like I said, similar to Magic, Legends. And then these guys teach the next guys. So we build on top of that. So each one can teach the next generation, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, on that point, like you mentioned, it is a closed alpha at the moment, prototype. We do have 20 testers in circulation now, and another 30 testers joined who are joining this week from our community, selected from our community, in our playable alpha. So yeah, and we've also, on your point on aesthetic, we finished pretty much all the artwork for the first edition of cards. So we're quite far ahead when it comes to the art front. And that art is currently being animated. We release almost daily teasers and new artworks on our Twitter, but it's just a tip of the iceberg of what we've got in the chest. It's so tempting when you're looking at 100 cards that look beautiful to just put them all out there, but it's so early in our timeline, and we want to stagger that over until we get closer to launch and release more and more.
It's a cool teaser. And by the way, if you require more testers, I'm pretty sure we will have you will have many testers within our community who will be really ready to test the application once you are there, once you need this, right? So you can let us know. By the way, can you please sorry, Philip, go on.
Just my question was like, and this is up to of course project manager Stephen and also to Kyle, maybe we can onboard 2 or 3 guys who are already in the chat watching, like, and try, you know.
As
Let's do it.
Yeah, of course. Good idea. Anyway, you know, if a ScaleSwap community or somebody from ScaleSwap community is testing the application, then we have then even more points, you know, for for better partnership working together. And you have also feedback, right? So because it's all about testing. There is no application which can work fine without being tested. it's a reality. Okay, Nelly, you are back.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Well, definitely a lot of questions in the live chat. I'm not sure that we will have enough time to go through all of them, but I love how Martin, our very loyal community member, has prepared. He has sent like more than 10 questions by his own only. So one of his questions is about your USP, unique selling proposition, because yeah, Semper Cosi is not just a gaming startup. It is the metaverse or marketplace with multiply games that you plan to launch on one platform. But right now, these days, you are not the only project with this approach, and you know it perfectly. Even in traditional world, we have a Steam platform, yeah? In crypto world, we have quite a number of startups that are trying to do very similar thing, launch multiply crypto games, starting with 1 or 2 and then adding others, combine them with one token or some kind of interoperable NFT, gaming asset, etc. So what is your differentiation from the competitors?
I'll take this one here.
I'll take part of it, or if you want to, you go first, Stephen, and I'll jump in. Obviously, there's 2 things to think about. There's USPs to the first product, which is the first game, and then there's USPs to the overall company and the publisher, and how we are going to be different and what our plan is.
Give us both.
Stephen,
both.
you kick in. Yeah, so Stephen, you jump in, and I'll fill in any gaps that I think you left for us.
Perfect. Yeah. So first and foremost,
we have to do this. We have to do this because Stephen knows that you'll see Stephen will put up his hand really quickly for these questions because he knows that I'm like, I talk forever. So, he's saving you. This is Stephen looking out for the community.
For any other card players out there, I just want to let you know that he talks so much that we actually created our own card for him that saying that he mutes everyone else in the match just to mess with him. But no, so our unique selling points here are first and foremost, great art, great music, great gameplay, and a great deep storyline. So already there, we differentiate ourselves from a lot of the other crypto games who, I don't want to, hack down on anyone, but there is arguably less depth to gameplay amongst a lot of those crypto games. They might have, let's say, a cool gameplay mechanic, but then no story, or the other way around. They might have a cool story, but no real nice design or organized front end to make it look beautiful. So first step is our art. Like, we have exceptional art, music, and story. Secondly, first mover advantage in Cardano. We identify that there still aren't really any games on Cardano. There's a lot being made, or there are a couple being made, but there still aren't any. And the Cardano community is a very strong, very a passionate community that will love to find the poster child, so to speak, of their community, the first movers to create a big and renowned game, so to speak. And thirdly, we've partnered with a huge like gaming studio conglomerate, so to speak. They call themselves the biggest Europe's biggest studio family, like developer family, where I think it's like 350 plus employees around the world. With great experience. So those are, and that's also very, that differentiates us from a lot of other crypto games as well, because we now have a professional studio to help us build a professional game rather than, a small team who are trying their best, but might not really succeed, to say that way. Please, Kyle, or Philip is sitting with his hand up.
Jump in really quick because I have to jump in here. It became like a joke in the gaming industry outside of the crypto world. And it became a joke, like everybody raised some money for a website that they did, and they approached all kinds of gaming studios, Riot Games, these guys, those guys, like, can you build us a game? So they literally wrote, it became a joke with them, how many requests they got for building a game that wasn't thought through.
Yeah.
So this is not our approach at all. And a USP from Semper Cosi is that we have 3 approaches in general. One approach is to build a game from A to Z. The second approach is to develop to on-chain a game that approaches us. That's already happening right now. The third approach, that's already happening as well, is that we have somebody who has a brand, or who's maybe a whale, or who's a mover in a certain place, and he wants to take his brand and create a game out of it. If it makes sense, because a lot of times it doesn't, if it makes sense, we will create a game out of it. So that way you already, like yesterday, we wanted to have a certain advantage on a different, not on Cardano, on a different thing. And one of our guys we work with, and our partner, who is a brand himself, we're working on like a minimal prototype, just to lay it out what the simulations and the farming simulator will look like. He established to become the #1 whale in that community by buying a NFT for like a ridiculous price that I don't even want to name. So these are the 3 approaches. We take a brand, match it with a game, we on-chain a game, or create a game ourselves. I think the execution of the game creation and the technology that Sunny can talk about is on our side, and we have it pocketed. So I think this is the proof of concept that we are trying to achieve by showing the game, and also by having the right partnerships. So.
May come back to a very interesting point, especially Cardano. So you mentioned Cardano. Maybe you can emphasize for our community, especially because our community is mainly on EVM blockchains, Ethereum compatible blockchains. Why Cardano? What do you plan exactly to release on Cardano? It's a part of your token or part of game, really. So what's our plans there?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I mean, for people coming from an EVM language, the Cardano system at first might be a little bit different. In EVM languages, we don't really have a native support for currency. All currency EVM languages are standardized, ERC21 and all these things. And the Cardano community, there are actually tokens defined on the level of Cardano itself. They're called native tokens, and these tokens are basically written in Cardano itself. The nice part about this is that they are more a true NFT and a true kind of token implementation in a contract. So for us, the nice thing is we plan for our token and for NFTs to highly go into the native token. So with this, we have NFTs that are super truly tradable. There are kind of in ERC language, in EVM languages, is always that you have to create a contract, and with this contract, you then implement your. With Cardano, we don't have this contract at all. Like, we are minting actual native tokens. We give out native tokens, and we don't even have control about them anymore in the same way as in EVM languages. Like in EVM languages, you can stop your contract and then anymore. That's all not doable in Cardano. Once we mint them, we give out, they are owning it, and not we own the contract that gives them the NFT. So Cardano has very interesting mechanics for this. It also has limitations for sure, because we have less control, but we like the idea of Cardano and how these native tokens are a true kind of NFT compared to what's done in EVM languages.
So basically, it's a summary. There are native tokens in Cardano, and you can write into this native tokens metadata, which makes NFT out of it, right?
Exactly. So you mint each NFT individually as an own token, and it's not that you mint a contract, but it's minted as part of Cardano. So these tokens behave as ADA, as a currency in Cardano itself.
And by the way, is ADA NFT itself? So is each ADA non-fungible or fungible?
Well, ADA is fungible. Like our token will have the same behavior as ADA. The war token.
I think Seni has some internet problems. So Seni, please check your internet and maybe change your Wi-Fi connection.
Or maybe just disable video.
I can jump into some other reasons why Cardano as well. Obviously, there's 2 sides of the coin. There's the technical side, which Sunny was representing there, and super interesting stuff there as well. There's the opportunity to be a first mover, which we've kind of touched on. I think that's really important. I think for us to get into a community that is geared up and ready to shout about a project but doesn't have one yet in this vein is an important one. It's also quite low gas fee, and there's quite a lot to leverage. So I think there's a lot of learning for us. Obviously, like Sunny said, there are some limitations, so we've learned about those and we've kind of worked around them. But there's also a lot of stuff that's native that kind of just makes sense. So yeah, I think there also are iterations of similar card game types on other chains, and it's nice to have a space to ourselves where we are not directly competing and we're able to reference and learn. So I think that's another balanced side of that why Cardano conversation as well.
Well, guys, Kyle and guys, thanks a lot for elaborating. Now, I think it's clear for many of us why did you choose Cardano, but right now I have a question to Ralph and Stan from our community member with the nickname Lava for You. Scaleswap is not yet integrated with Cardano. How Scaleswap and Semper Cosi plan to launch with existing setup? And is Scaleswap planning to add a Cardano network in future?
Very good. Best man is Stan for sure for this question.
Very, very, very interesting question, because we are, to be fully frank with the community, Semper Cosi is our first, let's say, Cardano case. We don't have so much startups from Cardano ecosystem. And by the way, it's still one small problem of Cardano ecosystem that there are not many projects on Cardano, basically because of their programming language Haskell, and maybe there are 20 people in the world who can, who really can Haskell. This is one of the main problems of Cardano. Nevertheless, we are thinking very deeply how to do this integration, how to allow our users to participate on IDOs on Cardano without putting too much tech on their shoulders, because some of our users are not tech savvy, and getting another blockchain which is not compatible with MetaMask can be problematic. It will be ways to do so. I can not 100% explain which ways because we have time, but be assured that once we let's say finalize all the partnership discussions with Semper Cosi, we will definitely also announce how to do so, how to participate on this IDO. It will be not too difficult for you. We will offer to you all the necessary tooling, including bridges if necessary, and also let's say FAQs, how to, so that it will be understandable. So if you ever used EVM and MetaMask, you will also be able to participate on Cardano. So
Thank you, Stan. Yeah. Thanks for elaborating on this. We definitely all are waiting for this integration, because Scaleswap at one day will become the most multi-chain launchpad among all, right? As usually, we will have all the details about IDO published on Medium page, and also in the newsletter, and of course in Telegram channel. So guys, if you are not subscribed to one of these yet, it's a shame. You should do it as soon as possible. And another question from the same user: if I look at your community, it's very small now. It's less than 1K members on Discord and Twitter. How do you plan to grow your community? I think it's a great question. And also we have some number of similar questions about your go-to-market strategy. So guys, who wants to elaborate?
I'll jump in on this one. That's quite intentional. So, we've maintained a bit of presence in the Cardano community, maybe laying down some roots, making sure that we're present, but we haven't been doing a sprint to market. We obviously wanted to make sure that we have the ducks in a row, have the launch dates before we do that. One of the problems you've got is when you launch a promise for a game, you then have a period of time to hold someone's attention. And when you look at these NFT projects, an NFT project has to go to launch so that you can buy and own an NFT. A game is much different. The whole game has to be developed, tested, rolled out, and launched. So we wanted to pick the right time to do a community building sprint, as opposed to getting 5,000, 10,000 people into a community and then trying to hold their attention for a year. And we wanted to keep that as close-knit to our alpha testing group as possible so that the group that we've got are the group that are helping us test and build the game. We didn't want to have 20,000 people playing the alpha prototype and dealing with the bugs as we work them out. So that's one part of it. Another one, when it comes to the strategy on how to go to market, and this actually ties into some of our USPs, is there's a big part of our game that is going to be super accessible. You know, obviously there is the NFT functionality and there's the coin. And in order to trade or sell or own your cards, you need to be minting them. But there is an off-chain component to this game and a really accessible mass adoption component, which allows us to do two things. Our NFT component obviously allows us to tap into our Cardano community and our crypto community and show them a great game that's coming to their space. And on the converse, we can tap into people that that haven't yet been converted. And I think that's part of our story. We want to be a bridging game. We want to bring people into our game, and then they see, wow, I can do so much more if I embrace the NFT functionality, and really give them a use case that explains the reasoning for NFTs or crypto. Because I think the biggest problem in gaming is a lot of people just don't understand. They don't know what they don't know. So you hear this NFTs are a scam thing every 2 days in the normal world, right? And it's hard to argue with people who just don't know. And so what we are is a use case to show you exactly why there is value there. So someone could join our game, play our game, relatively little to no barrier to entry on a freemium approach, and then with a little bit of time in our ecosystem, realize all the benefits of the NFT part of the game. And so it allows us to tap into a general market, to go the general marketing route, which my background is in marketing games, working with user acquisition retention campaigns with companies like Codemasters and big gaming studios. And that's like what I know. And then obviously tapping into the strong community aspect that comes with the crypto side of it. So yes, there will be a sprint on community building. It's a little early for us to do that now because we'll be hanging on and trying to keep people waiting in the lobby, so to speak, waiting for a game that will come out, you know, end of a year. So we just wanted to pick the right time to do that community sprint. But yes, big focus will be on marketing, community building. I think that will lead the way as far as user adoption. And that will be a two-pronged approach, both in crypto and the Cardano community, and then in the general gaming side, you know, normal user acquisition campaigns, PR, influencers. And we've got a big strategy built up with some really good contacts on that front. So quite kind of confident in that space. We've dipped our toes in there before, having had experience with traditional game user acquisition and retention, as well as things like Kickstarter campaigns for games, which surprisingly is not that different from launching in the crypto space. You bring a promise and you present a route to delivery, and people choose whether they are going to buy into that. And I've been lucky enough to be part of some of the biggest Kickstarter campaigns in the game space as well. So very excited to get to the phase where we're sprinting on community building and user acquisition. But it's not the right time to hustle and double down on slamming people into our Discord while we ask them to wait while we develop a game. So keeping it small intentionally and just threading the needle, building the right kind of community with the right kind of messaging and the right kind of culture first, I think, is quite a priority for us.
And do you plan to mobilize Cardano or other community? Do you have any grants or promises or official collabs with other ecosystems?
Yeah, so we've got some partnerships with some KOMs and influencers, which is great. Some of them I'll hand over to Philip to mention some, but you know, when it comes to community building, through Nature is Metal is a very big partner on that front and has a very big reach, and there's a well-connected entity that can help connect us to even more. We've obviously got various sub-communities from our partners like Scaleswap and a few others. So it's just about making these connections as well and leveraging them as best as possible for both parties. But Philip has actually got a bunch of these lined up and a bunch of other game developers that we can cross-pollinate with marketing campaigns on, and even possibly, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give away too much too early, but you know, cross-utility opportunities to create you know, cards that have utility in more than one game or more than one ecosystem, which is awesome for marketing if done correctly. So, Philip, anything to add to that, or have I done the usual?
I think we need to point out how NFT Maker and Patrick is part of our advisory board. Patrick has been on our journey with us. He's a big mover in the Cardano space, and Patrick is a good friend of the entire thing. Same goes for Christian, who's been part of this team as well. And these guys actually moving a lot of things. They're making mostly NFT drops, but they're building an entire ecosystem. And we're also crossing paths with them whenever it comes to tech. So Sani and Patrick, I think, are really hooked up, like a little bit lovebirds, both IT guys. And I would actually like to point out a bit more how big Nature's Metal really is. And this is a partnership that we're intending to do, even with their own cards in the game, in Wolves of Rome. Nature's Metal is, I always listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, and this is the only thing he watches daily. There's even a video clip of one of his latest shows where he's pointing it out, which I think is amazing. So a couple of these people are lined up. I don't know how many you're allowed to say now, Kyle, contract-wise, so we need to ask Ro, but other than that, I think it's nice to point out that Nature's Metal is in the planning already. So this is, I think this is like a big thing.
Good. Guys, now it's time to talk about your token and tokenomics. A lot of community members are asking about this, Omar, Irshan, Love for You, Serkan, and others. So yeah, can you elaborate, please, about your token?
That's Sani over here, or Kyle can take it too.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll let Philip take most of it. I think right now we've got a utility token that we're launching. We'll have governance and staking, yeah, I think that's, it's not an in-game reward token, so we're not building a win. We're not building a winner token game. I think it's important to note that we are a play and earn game, not a play to earn game. So the token and gameplay are semi-linked, but you're not winning tokens in the game. So that's important for people to know that those are separate. Philip, do you want to talk more about, from the token perspective, a little bit more about what we're doing there? Because I think I just wanted to make sure that people don't think the token is something that is in the in-game rewards ecosystem. It's a little different on our game.
Yeah, sorry, I was just busy trying to answer Stan's question about the giveaways after the show, but yes. So as you said, the two primary functions which we'll work out is that we're going to do make it a stake, a governance token, which is important. There will be different tiers to the governing, of course, and maybe you can elaborate on that because you're in the lead when it comes to that. And of course, the staking component will work out. It won't be a Ponzi staking component. I have to point that out because that's what a lot of games are doing as well. It will be a proper staking, which is based on getting rewarded for certain amounts that we allocate to it. Yeah, that's it. I wish we had the financial guy Dennis with us on the call, but it's just 4 of us now. I think we can also.
What I can elaborate on a little bit is just the crossover between the additional utility on that token, just for the people that want to hold the token and play the game. And I think that's quite cool. We will be cheering out some cool labeled guilds for token holders that allow them to take part in exclusive tournaments and different reward tiers on that front, which is quite fun. But yeah, that's all just as recognition and additional gameplay groupings with that token. But I think the primary stuff that Philip has mentioned is the governance and the staking on that token. But like we said, a limited token, we're not introducing that as a reward in gameplay. I think that we additionally, early on in the conversation around tokenomics, we explored this and we just found that a much simpler system would be better from a player reward. So our game, and I like to say play and earn, not play to earn, because our game is geared around great gameplay. And the pain point we had with traditional games was you put a lot of money into a game and you essentially are buying content from the game creator. But when you want to leave that game ecosystem, you can't take that content with you. You can't trade it. You can't pass it over. So that's the NFT side of it. But obviously, another thing on the converse was a lot of people or bots grinding out games or playing games that are not fun to play simply to farm tokens and just to smash them over and over again. And that kind of robbed the game or the idea of the spirit of a game and making a great game that is fun to play. So this game is very much a play and earn. Players who mint cards or win cards in gameplay can take those cards to the secondary market. Our primary standpoint from a revenue perspective as a company is to earn on a commission of the trading volume of those cards. And so that puts us on the same team as the player, which is very different to normal gaming, because in normal gaming, the developer is trying to sell something and you're trying to get as much entertainment out for what you buy, right? So there's this cross purposes. I'm trying to get your money and you're trying to get fun and we're trying to fight. For us, it's a little different. We are earning when players earn. When they trade the card, we are never going to compete with our players. We're never going to stop them from entering the secondary market with their cards. If anything, we're going to encourage it. And so for that purpose, we will never sell individual cards, and we will seasonize our cards. We'll have seasonal cards, edition based, so that any card from a previous season, we will never be competing with the players on. They'll always be the first port of call for selling and buying cards on the secondary market, which means our standpoint is pretty much the same as theirs. We want them to trade and we want them to earn from selling and passing around those cards, which I think is an important thing, easy to skim over. But yeah, it's not the traditional, well, I don't know if there is anything traditional in the crypto space, but there's not the expected game token grinding where you earn a bunch of in-game rewards and you can cash them out. Ours is different. And we did that, Sani can also speak into this. We did that because we wanted to build something stable, something understandable, and something that is going to last long-term. A lot of these models, when we looked at them, had a runway of a few years, and then you could create a scenario where you said, but what if this happens? What if people don't buy these tokens? You know, then you have to buy. What if you run out, if it's a limited mint token? All of these things will kill the game, and if the game dies, the NFT holders have a less valuable product, the token holders are affected. And so we wanted to build something stable, reliable, and understandable. So that's just a little bit on like making sure that we've differentiated between the governance and staking token and not having that in the reward system at all.
I think another big aspect to add this is that we really wanted to emphasize on easy getting into the game. So for us, it was super important because we see that crypto is taking over, but there is still, for a huge amount of player base, MetaMask or a wallet is not part of their browser. So making them an offer to join the game without directly starting with crypto, but going in, playing your first rounds, and then find you have joy and you got a card and you see, oh, this card is actually quite worth and quite interesting to sell, and I don't even need it. And this point is where we think we can hook the player and they say, well, maybe now it's a good time to get a wallet, get into crypto, and because the investment is already there, players are interested, they have something. And so much of our design was around how can we make this possible? And with an in-game reward that is on-chain, many have this problem of that you already need a MetaMask to log in, you have this high crypto barrier to start. And maybe this isn't needed in several years, but for now, we highly argue that to bring in new players, to get a new audience and a huge audience, this mixture is the best way for us.
Guys, I have a couple of questions in this regards. First of all, Kyle mentioned that you are not that much play to earn, but play and earn. Does it mean that you will focus not only on crypto savvy community, but also on traditional gamers? And Viet Duke Crypto is also asking about this. How do you plan to attract traditional gamers to the blockchain gaming market? And also he's asking, do you have any plan to enter the Southeast Asian market?
Awesome. Well, I think we want to be worldwide. Definitely want to be as accessible as possible. I think that's one of our core values is accessibility. And it's the play and earn is not just a catchphrase. It's actually really important because play to earn and play and earn lead you in very different directions. We want to be, and it's really important that we're seen as the creator and publisher of really good games. Now we want to be fair and we want to build something that is a lot more fair than what's currently available to players. And so we're creating a great game that players can own their cards on. But at the same time, like you said, a component to the game or a whole bunch of the game that is playable prior to ever having a wallet, prior to ever knowing anything about crypto. You know, I play this game, it's really fun. I got some really good cards, like Sunny said. And now I realize that actually I can own these things. And that's something that is foreign. As someone who played many a game on mobile and has had those little ads that come up with, you need to buy gems to speed something up, or you need to do something, and you just realize like that's how they hook you in spending money in games and you never get it back. I think we wanted to make sure that we were showing and betting on this, showing users that, and showing the gaming crowd that this is changing. And I think the big studios are recognizing this as well, is what has been done in the past was done because that was what was available. But what crypto allows us to do, and in decentralization, it allows us to be more fair to the user. And once the general users start realizing that there are more fair options towards them, they will move. And so it's not just about being fair, which we want to be, but we're betting that, you know, it might be new right now, and so we're making it really accessible on our game. But moving down the line, I have a feeling that that a lot of the traditional gaming companies are going to have to pivot this way, and we will already be standing in the right shoes, on the right feet, because we would have built our game this way. And so definitely want to attract the normal gamers and show them a great game, show them some great art, some great gameplay mechanics, and also kind of lure them in with, you know, what do you own in the other games that you play? So you bought a card pack. What can you do with those cards? Can you give us those cards? Can you give someone those cards? Can you sell those cards? No, you can't do any of those things in traditional gaming. In our game, you can. And so we're a bridging game to the crypto space. It's an important part of our story, but it's also really important to just to show what we're betting on. We're betting that this will become the norm. NFTs and gaming will become the norm. And so we want to be on the right feet, not only just going right after the crypto community, which is a great first step. I think they will adopt really quickly. They'll be excited by it. But I think also providing a next step to traditional gamers that then go, wow, I've learned something new. We also think a lot of people focus on user acquisition. How are you going to get players? How are you going to get players? But I think one of the biggest pain points we've seen in traditional gaming is how you're going to keep players. Yep. And this is one thing that you know, if everyone remembers their first NFT, everybody remembers the first project they backed, and we, you know, plan to be a lot of people's first project, and that's what we're also excited for, because from a retention perspective, once you are the person who taught them how to open a wallet, you're the person who showed them the value of their first NFT, you connected the dots for them on why this is such a cool thing to be part of, it's very unlikely you're going to lose them unless you're trying. So
the mass adoption, what we are speaking about, it's really what our ecosystem, I mean, general blockchain ecosystem is really looking for, right? And we are entering only some tiny steps to this, but I really like this. And by the way, speaking about timelines, so what should we expect? When can we expect to see the real first production version of the game and of the, I call this marketplace, right? Because it's more than the game. So we will have the marketplace, then one game, and then another game, and so on and so on. So what's
right? Can I jump in? But I would like to answer that. But I would like to go back to the previous question just one more time and say one thing that I talked last summer to Ari from the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. One thing we agreed on is the holy grail in gaming, crypto gaming, would be to have normal players and crypto players. And to combine these two, you need to have a very low threshold. This is something that we worked on. The second thing, which Kyle said, and this is super important, to keep players. How do you keep players? By expanding your game, by expanding game modes. It's something that's unheard of. It's not happening in the crypto space. They're not expanding it because they have a smart contract which is tied down, allows them exactly 1, 2, or maybe 3 game modes in total, and that's it. That's something we're completely circumventing. All right, so now now to the timeline. I think by the end of the year we will roll out the entire game. We will have the marketplace, but not the full marketplace. That is planned for next year, once we have more things agreed.
And just this short question about user acquisition, the topic that, as you said, is important, but retention is even more important. Do you have any partnerships or plans for partnerships with game guilds? Because at least in crypto gaming world, they are essentially important players.
We're actually talking to a few with a DAO that's a bit advising us. And one of the guys' brother is a guy who does nothing else but work on different guilds. And mostly, funny enough, the question came up before, it was Asian guilds. A lot of them are based there for some reason. So this is one thing that we're looking at right now. We're looking for partnerships actively. most of the partnerships we did so far is from the actual gaming world. Yeah.
Good.
And also from the partnering perspective, I think we have quite a tradition that projects that were launching on our platform, that they are also collaborated in some ways. This was so far already several times very successful. And Martin also put a question in the comment section that if you had a look already at Ore protocol. So if you want to get in contact with Mark Blinder, who is also, the project is also make it more easy, let's say, for onboarding, especially for non-crypto savvy people. For example, log on with Google and Facebook accounts. So what are your thoughts about this?
I think one aspect is we'll have to see how we can integrate it with Cardano, because this is a little bit different. And that's also one thing where Cardano is a challenge for us. The ecosystem of Ethereum-based languages is further down the line. So this is something we have to keep in mind. And it also reduces some partnerships, but definitely open. And I think Cardano might be the only topic here to discuss.
Right.
Good. And Ralph, thanks a lot. Really great point, because also I think Martin in the chat were asking about if we have any partnership between Semper Cosi and other projects like Envelope, Capcoin and others. So a bit too early for these guys, but definitely we will do our best to facilitate all the needed introductions where we see any kind of matches and synergies between the projects, because joining efforts, especially in crypto and blockchain world, can make multiplier effect. So definitely. We have a lot of questions from a lot of different users, but some of them have really amazing questions they're asking. So one more time from Lava for you. You have a free-to-play game, that's great, but how do you plan to earn revenue, and what is your source of earning in the game?
Cool, I can jump in there. I think primarily, I think I mentioned a little bit about this. Our primary source of earning will be the trade commission of NFTs between users in the secondary market. So that's an important standpoint for us. And yes, there's a bunch of people that will join this game and play it for free. But I think the value of the NFT component to this game is that you can trade and you can purchase specific cards on the secondary market. In the actual game, if you want to purchase a game from a card pack from SemperCozy, you will get a card pack which is randomized, right? So when you're building a deck in a game like this, you have to think about the strategy. You want to have specific cards and specific combinations to win games. And so you'll be incentivized to put the cards that you don't need in your current deck on the secondary market so you can sell them. So someone else who needs that card for the kind of deck that they're building will purchase it. And you will also be incentivized to purchase cards on the secondary market that you need. So you can find someone who's listed a card that is specific to your deck that you need and purchase that. So it's very combo driven, and it has got a strategy component. Like I said, where it is game first. So there is skill to playing this game. And there's thinking that goes into a game like this. It's not just a mass clicking. And so we're putting ourselves on the side of the players that want to earn. We are earning with them when we earn in that commission. We obviously do sell NFTs and card packs, but that won't be our primary source at all. I think our primary source will be on the commissions as a revenue model. So yes, we have gone the route of freemium. We want to add a bunch of value up front. We want a lot of people playing this game. Yes, not all of those people are going to generate a revenue. Some of them will just enjoy a free-to-play experience. But if you build a game that is fun, competitive, and that is addictive in a good way, you're bound to have that ecosystem, that you tailor that to grow and to onboard people into the crypto space and obviously earn in that way. So we're betting on it. And I think that in general, that's the way that gaming is going. So we've all kind of aligned ourselves to that and built a game around that, as opposed to being devs on the opposite side trying to sell players things all the time.
There were also some questions around if there is any interlinkage, let's say, between the games, and the games maybe, or via Semper Cosi, as publisher, or if there are some benefits if you are active, let's say, in several games and stuff like this. Can you elaborate a little bit on this?
I can speak to some of this, and this comes down to our lore man, Akira. I would love to talk about some of the other games too, because we have some really exciting stuff, and it's so hard to talk about some of these things without giving away some of the other games. But I'll get in so much trouble if I do, because the game concept.
But we have a lot of questions in the chat about other 4 games, so feel free.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll talk about what I know I can say, and then Philip can break the rules if he wants to talk about. Or Steven, someone else can take the fall for me and talk about the other games in case I get anyone. But yeah, we've got some really cool games. And when it comes to story, we like to link everything to story, not just utility, but having that woven into game lore and universe, as opposed to just haphazardly slapping things together. And so what we've built is a universe system where on any given timeline, your games are related to each other. So one game might happen in the Wolves of Rome universe 2,000 years in the future. And what that might mean from a utility perspective is owning an NFT that is specific to Wolves of Rome game now might also have functionality or utility in game 2 or 3. And that's quite exciting. So there's this cross-pollination potential that happens between games where you find out that the thing you opened for this game actually is really usable in that game, and you need to go find out what it is. That's quite exciting, but also just allows people. We live in a world where people want to watch a series that has 5 seasons, or a movie that has 5 sequels. We want to invest our time into something that has longevity and can keep us entertained, and that's why we've chosen to really look at ourselves as a publisher who build games in a universe, because we want to. I don't want to say metaverse because I think it's a buzzword, but an ecosystem that is definitely related, where the projects relate to each other, and there are benefits to that cross-utility of NFTs. So I will stop there, but I'm gonna see if someone wants to spill the beans on some of the other games because they're so exciting. Philip, are we allowed to?
Okay, guys, give us some spoiler, okay? Because it's already tradition on Scaleswap channel that on our live AMAs, projects usually share some exclusive information from the first hands. Give us some meat. Give.
Please.
Come on, Philip, Steven, let's go. You guys spill the beans.
I'll let him do it. I won't take the responsibility.
I'm gonna say 2 words and see if Philip wants to. Midnight Force. Now I might have said too much.
Yeah. So okay.
Damage control.
No, it's not that, not at all, man. But the thing is, let's go back to the launchpad, just a bit further back. The launchpad, actually, metaverse is a terrible word right now. Honestly, it's a super hype buzzword. What people mean is land property that they buy. I get it. This is what metaverse actually means. Metaverse often doesn't have a depth, but coming back, my history, background goes to all kinds of stuff, even comic books in the 90s. And story is what counts, what keeps you invested into things. So we have a story that ties all of our games mostly together. And don't think of it as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Think of it as Marvel comic books in the 60s when Jack Kirby wrote all these myths into something together. So even Wolves of Rome has a very, very thick lore. People who are from that background, card games, come into this and look at it and like, wow, this is amazing. But it ties into a future world as well. It also ties into a parallel world as well. And Midnight Force, what Kai just dropped, is a conspiracy-based cyberpunk game in the future. But even the launchpad itself is conceptualized, this is what we're in the process of, as a kind of game. But it means you do have a marketplace, you buy and trade stuff and everything, but it is a place where you meet and you have access points. And these access points, this is our idea for now, and this is actually still like in the brainstorming process, is where you can enter different games. Many more perks that you will have by playing it, but this is a general idea, and also ownership of the places, but not just like a metaverse ownership. This is like where you have a room. It goes a bit deeper, and I'm not allowed to actually say this because everybody else will lynch me after this in the founders meeting. But one thing that I can say, because I just got the news for it, is we're making a wheat growing simulation. which is interesting. And we're doing this with a company together that is the biggest repro in Europe. So the CEO of the company is a good buddy of ours. It's a guy who spent 1.5 million on NFT yesterday just to get into a whale position on Magic, which is a different blockchain, which is interesting. But this is something that we're building, and it's going to be absolutely bizarre, but it's still going to tie into our universe, into our lore. I think that's actually just going too far out right now.
Okay, see, it seems like a description of a game. So it's yeah. And by the way, one last question from my side. If you speak about your royalties or revenue from selling NFTs, technically, will you have some smart contracts on Cardano for this, or is this something what is possible within native token on Cardano?
We're currently evaluating both things. So the system, royalty system works that an address gets the royalties, and we're currently evaluating different options of bringing that back into the ecosystem. But this is then, Cardano has some options here. We might be able to completely pull it off of a smart contract, but we'll have to see about all the limitations that here.
But seems like Cardano is a really good solution then for these NFT-like objects, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially the C NFTs are, I would say, a more pure way of NFTs, because you mint an NFT and it's actually not yours anymore as a contract owner. So for our case, it fits perfectly.
Okay, well, so big journey in front of you, and we hope that your beta or alpha testing will be possible within next maybe weeks. And again, a reminder, maybe we should create application form for, especially for our community, to get somebody from our community to test your alpha version.
I think that'd be a great idea. I'm happy to take anybody on. We're actually looking to load in a few more, just because with all the time zones, we realized that 20 people trying to play against each other meant that we had to really communicate. So we're trying to load in a few more alpha testers so that there's a lot more availability for games. And yeah, you know, if anyone's interested, we have a little form on our site, but actually the best place is on Discord. But I think with you guys, we will set something up specifically for the ScaleSwap community, a little form where you can apply, and we'll onboard you, show you what we've got so far and what we're testing. And yeah, very keen to get more people into the mix. That's something I'm super passionate about. The current thing that's really exciting is our alpha testers are obsessed with the game. Quite often, the Discord channel dedicated to alpha testing is players begging for games at all ungodly hours of the night, and us not being able to keep up with that demand because we're busy building something. So it'll be great to have more people in the loop there.
Great. So let's do so.
Guys, we are already live more than 1 hour. That really exceeds the normal length of the AMA session, but it seems that you have so much to say and we have so many questions that 1 hour is just not enough. Still, we need to finish this AMA session. So I remind one more time to all those amazing people who are watching us, guys, after you will have the recording version available on YouTube as usually. Please write your questions that you did not have answers for in the comments to this video. Leave your questions, and I already collected all the questions from the live chat, and will collect the questions from the comments to the file shared with team. And tomorrow we will announce the winners who will receive amazing prizes from Semper Cosi team. And before we finish today, last question from my side to Stan and Ralph. Guys, why did you yourself chose Semper Cosi? Why do you believe that there is some X factor here?
I think a lot of X factors were already getting clear here during the AMA. I think the team is exceptional, you know. And the mixture of enthusiasm, of experience, of expertise in all areas, game development, but also from marketing side, project management side. So on the one hand, very professional, very substantial team. So this was always for us a very important criteria, because we need to count on that a project delivers, you know. The second thing is definitely also there are, let's say, also there are for sure also differentiators. What you also explained, that it's not a typical play to earn, but play and earn system. But we also emphasize a lot on the quality. This means a lot in the if we have a look at games, you know, on the graphics, you know, and how it matches with the storyline. Is there a storyline, you know, that is really tempting and that is really catching you, you know. And I think the whole package, and then also the outlook with having several games, this is pretty much exceptional. And we did not see so far, or I did not see so far, let's say, something similar. Other projects are more throwing around buzzwords a lot, you know, trying to copy Xe, having 100 tokens and whatever. And I like this pure style, also back to the roots, back to gaming, you know. Not everything needs to, every click needs to be rewarded with 5 tokens, you know. Gaming is also still gaming. And maybe this is also one of the things that the traditional gaming world will love. So yeah, 100% in. So we still have the voting, but from my side, you will definitely have my vote.
Small addition to this great presentation of Ralph. I really support this. Team is the #1, so I like team is very dynamic. Team is understanding what they are doing. You have some experience behind the shoulders, right, with game development. This is very important. What especially drives me is a challenge of looking on Cardano more deeply, because it's an interesting place to be. And I suspect that without this team, I wouldn't do so. Cardano would just pass somewhere. But now we have this challenge, we have this opportunity, and this is what especially makes me interested to have you guys on our board, but definitely supporting what Ralph said. So let's kickstart.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, guys.
Such kind words. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan, for this honest reply to this question. And I remind everyone that the voting, community voting by SCA holders will start when, by the way?
Some hours from now.
Yeah, in just a few hours. So don't forget to check the Telegram message. You will see the link to the community voting. Ensure that you have SCA in your wallet when you connect, and don't forget to express your opinion in the voting about Semper Cosi. Yeah, thank you very much for being with us. And guys, you are amazing. Thank you very much for your time and for your energy.
And thank you, Nelly, for this really great hosting as always.
Like always.
Hey, and thank you to all the viewers for great questions. Thank you very much for showing interest and taking your time to ask us these questions. It means a lot. We're humbled by this experience. Thank you, guys.
You already have 11-page file link with the questions.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I'll take whatever time it takes to answer every single question.
Yeah.